Good morning and welcome to another Thankful Thursday. This week's subject matter is going to be a little bit heavier than usual, but I felt it was important to address something that happened in Chicago this past week. And sadly, the timing is perfect because next week we are going to be posting something on our social media platforms. It's for December 21st, which is National Homeless Persons Remembrance Day or Memorial Day, to remember those who have lost their lives as a result of living on the street. On Sunday, December 11th, the walking man passed away. If you are a native of Chicago, have worked downtown over the last few decades, or would read Richard Roper's column in the Sun-Times, I'm sure that you've seen or heard of the walking man. His real name was Joseph or Joe Kromelis or Kromelis. I'm not sure of the name. I believe I believe his family is from Lithuania. When I worked downtown in the early 2000s, I would see him very often, certainly before I knew anything about him or read anything in the newspaper about Joe. It was hard to miss, as he was oftentimes walking up and down Michigan Avenue or through Streeterville. And I would love walking on my hour-long lunch break. You'd see him either just standing there and watching the crowd or checking out one of the street musicians, or sometimes looking in a window and combing that beautiful mane that he had. Usually, when I would see him, he typically had a white T-shirt and sport jacket and boots, and I always wondered how comfortable it was walking in those boots for miles and miles. As the months went on and I would see him frequently, certainly was a man of mystery to me. And I saw Richard Roper's articles start popping up every so often about him. I started to realize that he wasn't just a legend in my own world, but in the world of many others. Now, if you haven't read anything about the walking man, who knows if it happened other times, but recently he was attacked twice. Back in 2016, he had been beaten with a bat and hospitalized, and at that time, some more information had come out about him, where he actually did have family. I don't think they were local, and I believe all but one sibling has passed away. But I actually found out that he had an apartment in Lincoln Park or near Lincoln Park up until 2012, when the building that he was living in ended up getting converted to condos. It would seem after that point, that's when he really started living on the streets rather than just walking them. Several months ago, earlier this year, he was victim to another crime where he was set on fire. From reading a few different articles, I'm still not sure whether he was a target or if it was accidental. But either way, he spent months in the hospital, and I believe he got then released to a rehab facility. And this past Sunday, on the 11th, he ended up passing away due to complications of his burns. And his death has now been considered a homicide. So I certainly hope that the justice system doesn't fail him, even though he's no longer with us. And for this week, I had other things planned to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about them in next week's video, but I just wanted to devote this week to the walking man. And I certainly have been debating what to make this video about, whether we talk about all the injustices. How is it we can have a huge city where the spectrum is so wide from multi-million-dollar homes to people living on the streets in the dead of winter? That's absolutely something that has baffled my mind for years and years. And even though I don't think that, at least anything that I've read, there was any evidence that Joe suffered from any mental illness, but certainly there are many of those who live on the streets who do have some sort of mental illness, and talking about why the system's so screwed up that in this state and city we cannot have more resources and facilities help those in need. What I really wanted to do with this video, and the purpose of this video, is to remember the walking man, because I'm extremely thankful for the memories that I have with him. Not that he and I ever interacted, except one time. I don't remember exactly where I was, but I was in downtown one of my lunch breaks, walking around, and I stopped to use a restroom. And what do you know? In the stall next to me, there he was. I certainly was speechless and starstruck, but that's probably the closest I've ever gotten to him, except when we would pass each other walking down Michigan Avenue. Every time I did see him, it brought me great joy. I'd always go back to the office and tell my coworkers. So even though we didn't know each other, Joe, I appreciate all the smiles you put on my face, and I know it wasn't just me. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of others who either knew you, saw you, or smiled because of you. So I encourage you, if you're watching this video and you know the walking man or the walking dude, I would love if you share your own story about seeing Joe, or if you actually never had a chance and opportunity to speak with him. Thanks for the memories, Joe. You are truly a Chicago legend. Wherever you are, I know you're walking around and bringing a smile to somebody's face. Thank you for watching this video. I apologize if it was a little too heavy, but hopefully we can use this as an opportunity to appreciate those around us, especially those in need, even if it's somebody that we don't know. Always be ready and willing to lend a helping hand. Thanks again for watching. I truly appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you next week.